Itagat chitab Kalenjin eng logoiwekab emet chebo saisiechu kainenyu ko Chesang Karo Sirma. Ole kakomangei kanetindet neo nebo sukulitab tibik nebo Chebisas Girls ako eng komasta noto nebo Nandi noto bo Aldai Jane Kandie akomwa kole mabo iman logoiwek choto kokotestai koletakei kele mitei kanetindet agenge nebo sukulit noto nekobir kipsomaniatab form 4 ako metoti kakutenosiek cheyachen. Kama Kandie kole kosubkei ak chikilisiet nekokiyai kale kokotoi kele bo lembech logoiwek choto mwaet kole kitanui lakwanato eng sukul akelabate kwa sipitali kobate makibir kou ole kokimwaita eng logoiyot noto nekoletakei eng oret noto nebo musoknotetab kasari nebo social media. Kaibuch report nito sirindenyo kong'ete Nandi County, Cornelius Keter.
Kaesho kanetindet neo nebo sukulit notok bo Chebisas Girls Jane Leke Kandie logoiwek chekotestai koletakei eng musoknotetab kasari nebo social media nemwaat kole kibir kanetindet agenge kipsomaniat nebo sukulit notok akoit kokoten inendet ole kale mabo iman logoiwek chotok akotokyingei kong'eme kainet sukulit notok.
I want to say that we have had the accusations circulating in social media over alleged the Michelle Chepchumba, that the incident of a student alleged to be beaten by a teacher in school. According to our internal investigation, as a school, the accusations are false and has no basis and they are malicious. There is no such incident of injury to the said student in school. And as a school, we are waiting for external investigations.
Kamwa Kandie kole ityin kamanut sukulit notok chametabgei nebo kipsomaninik kwak ako unotok kingotanui kipsomanianda notok kokimut sipitali sukulit notok akomwoch sigindenyi kou ole nyalu.
Michelle was she was in class and she fainted and we took her to hospital. Michelle, like any other student, got sick and she was taken to hospital twice. We took her to the hospital twice and I called the mother. That's a procedure. I called the mother to come and pick the child from school on Thursday, but she came on Saturday to pick the child. So we took the right procedure. We treated the girl and then we called the mother to come and take her for further treatment.
Kaikimit kole chebo sukulit notok kotach kipsomanianda notok eng kasarta nekasop asikomuch kotestai ak somanenyi ole kale chobot kora sukulit notok kobois ak ministry nebo somanet koboto ofisaek chebo sigishet asikenai kit nekitestai kotinygei ak notok ng'alek chekarobeun sub county director nebo TSC Samuel Chemolo.
As a school, we are ready to receive the student back to school as we continue praying for her to be well, to continue with her studies. As we talk now, Michelle Chepchumba has been registered as a Form 4 student. We are waiting for her so that she can come and excel in our school. We are open to cooperate. We are open to cooperate with the investigating authorities to get it to the bottom so that on that issue.
The main point is to look at medical reports. That is the most professional way of looking at it. The investigation has already been reported to DCI and therefore they have a role to play, similar role that we need also to just find a few facts, but it is already a police case. Yeah, so we may not say much. Yes.
If it is that this is a teacher, and then we shall go all the way to the conclusive end. If it will be a matter that this is an employee of the board of management, then the board of management will pick it up.
Kong'ete taonitab Kapsabet eng county nebo Nandi, logoiwekab emet chebo Kass, kainenyu ko Cornelius Keter.
Yekitestai ko chechang eng biik cheosen eng emoni kobune kaimutik chotok bo bananda kosubkei ak nemanyoru toretet age tugul eng county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet komitei koko agenge nebune kaimutik ak nyalilda eng komasata eng koberta noto nebo Emso. Rutechi komasata alake eng neranik asikobit kotoret kokoi noto kikure Grace Chemwalo ole koboisie icheket kasarata kosom biikab emet korikchi akorib biik cheosen. Kinyoru sirindenyo Andrew Kimeto ak logoiwechuto eng koindo.
Agomongei barnotik eng Keyonot akokochi toretet kwony agenge netinye kenyisiek 82 nemeng'isie inegei eng timto nemitei kokwetab Kipreng eng Emso Ward. Kong'ololi yekangorutochi kwonyoto akokochi toretet komwa barnotik choto chekoboto Rafael Kipiego kole chang biik cheyosen chemitei kokwotunwekab gaa eng komosata chemakchinigei toretet eng oretab chokchinet.
Kokakibwa amu kikiro ole kiu gogo social media kele kebwa yu sinyikero kele tos toretet ne nemache gogo tos iman ng'alechu anan tugun chebo cholo so kikibwa kikimuch keitu yo Friday nyikero man keyai pre-visit kero kele man gogo kabisa ko mache kobunu uinwogik che echen kabisa.
Ai mi kesina amun amawat ni magtebie ni kararan. Ara kwa nyoru. Nyoru kitera tutu kwa marmar ni. Kwa nyoru orit.
Chechang eng kaimutiet abune bichoto yosien ko matinye icheket korik chebo meng'atiet, amitwogik ak ngoroik.
Sikeyai kuni ko kineranik ko amu kikere kele kingen kele notok nenyonet achek che makat ketelelchi biik cheu icheket makat ketelelchi sikero kele kakinam ichek keun kou kingemengechen acheket ko kikiname chun ako chikiname chun ko icheket so kanyolu nguno acheket kewek teut akenam icheket keut sikotestai akomeng'is ing sobet neboibochin icheket ko biik che echen.
Kasom barnotik choto serikali kochutyi orit akotoret bichoto yosen komeng'is eng oretab tekisto.
Kikinam ketugul kele ngemuch ketoret bichu kenemu kiy age tugul nekimuchi kenemu kiyai kiy age tugul nekimuchi kenemu amu kakile eng kalenjin mabo kei chi suppose kenam keun sikeit lekibendi ako bichuto akiche ko kinyorkei eng kaimeni so suppose kenemu kei tugul siketoret bichuto sikokas kole tindoi akiche biik cheribe ako chekase kole cheipchini nyikisindo. Kakiro man kele menye gogo kabisa situation kabisa ne very devastating so ngiro le menye gogo ko iteje kitu kele karibu 7 escarpment. Aya yute menye gogo kora ko ngorobon mising komuche kong'ashakan so kilechini kityo biik chekerech oye ngoto kere kityo man anu kase tugoni ongenam tugul sikero kele kakitoret gogo komeche tugun chechang meche ketekchi kot ikere kole bo kenyisiek 82 so meche ketoret ine ketekchi kot kepalchi ko toilet netoretegei inendet.
Kong'ete county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet logoiwekab emet chebo Kass kainenyu Andrew Kimeto.
Ketesetai ko kakolumda kampunitab Z Entertainment Africa Channel noton nebo TV eng emetab Kenya nebo Z Dunia noton newendi kobortoi filamu cheterter. Kamwa kandoikab kampunit noton kondochin CEO Somnath Malakar kole wendi channel notok bo Z Dunia konaptoi sekta nebo chobetab content eng emoni ako toret neranik konyor boisionik.
We are very happy that you are here. You are going to connect people from India to people from Kenya. You are going to bring Indian story to the people of Kenya. And you are also going to get story from Kenya to India. This is one collaboration in the form of, production, shows, operas. You are going to connect hearts of both India and Kenya.
Z Dunia is committed to nurturing local talent and elevating Kenyan voices. From emerging creators to established industry professionals, we are dedicated to empowering the next generation of storytellers, growing Kenya's creative economy.
Our content of Z Dunia will be available in 2 languages, in English as well as Swahili. We would love to partner with schools of talent where they teach different aspects of filmmaking, content creation, right? We would also want to take them to India and make them a part of an actual Z Productions in Mumbai, give them that live exposure on the ground, bring them back here and make them a part of the local productions that we do over here. So we have, as a company, finished 13 local productions in the last 2.5 years across Nigeria and South Africa, and we intend to continue with that trend with at least 4 to 5 local productions in Kenya in the first year. So we would engage not only with local talent on screen, but also behind the screen in terms of their expertise of production and post-production. So that's the level of engagement, that's the level of commitment that we have towards building, as I mentioned earlier, the local industry and the overall business is concerned for the market in that space.
This entertainment industry will create thousands of jobs for our people in Africa. If you are doing it in Nigeria, South Africa, and now you're doing it in Ethiopia, the Kenya, the number of jobs that we get will be big, and our young people will get money, pay bills, and live a decent life.
Ketesetai kokakelewen neki president nebo emoni Uhuru Kenyatta, neki president nebo emetab Nigeria Olusegun Obasanjo, neki president nebo emetab South Africa Kgalema Motlanthe ak neki president nebo emetab Ethiopia Sahle Work Zewde kondochi tetutik chebo ibunetab kalyet eng kongasis nebo emetab Democratic Republic of Congo DRC. Akilewen kandoichoto eng tuyet nebo presidents chebunu ematinwek chebo East African Community ak Southern African Development Community ole kakiyai tuyonoto eng oret nebo musoknotet anan virtual meeting kondochin President William Ruto ak President nebo emetab Zimbabwe Emmerson Mnangagwa. Kongololi eng yatetab tuyonoto ole kamwa President Ruto kole mite ngoyondetab koletagei boryonoto kongete DRC ako emotinwek chenekityin ako unoto komagat keboisie ortinwek tugul kitonon boryonoto.
Strong foundation for our discussions today.
The situation in Eastern DRC is not getting better, it is getting worse, and therefore it is a source of concern, not just for DRC as a country, but all of us in the East African community and SADC, because it has the potential to spill over into our countries with the attendant serious consequences of displacement of people, loss of life, and the challenges of instability that it will come with it. And therefore, I want to thank all the heads of state who have demonstrated their commitment by attending this virtual meeting. It is a confirmation that we are all concerned, rightfully, about the situation in our neighborhood, and all of us are taking steps to see to it that we do everything that we can to resolve the issue in Eastern DRC to the best of our ability. Allow me, Excellencies, also to commend and congratulate our two brothers, President Felix Tshisekedi and President Kagame, for a face-to-face engagement that they have had in the last few days. Again, a clear demonstration on their part that they are equally committed to seeing to it that we resolve the matters in Eastern DRC and also that affect our countries and our region. Number three, let me commend our defense chiefs who have had several meetings in preparation for the summit, and also our ministers of defense and ministers of foreign affairs for the preparations they have undertaken to facilitate us having this meeting. The primary objective of which will be to discuss the report of our ministers of foreign affairs and defense that was informed to a great extent by the meetings of the defense chiefs. I think this evening is a very important meeting, and there are expectations from the people of DRC, from the people of our region, on the outcome of this meeting, and I want to encourage all of us to do whatever it is that we can to provide leadership in the matters that concern us and the matters that are on the agenda this evening.
Akachut betutab oeng rani interviews chekeyochin biik 11 chemache kelewen koek agenge nebo ngecheret eng kibagengeit noto nebo lewenisiet nebo Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC. Kaek netai ketepse Erastus Ethekon eng saishek chebo karon ako Super Francis Kaikai Kissinger netesetai ketepse nguni. Yeibata noto kotetat ketepse Jacob Ngwele Muvingei akoek nebo let eng betuni Joy Mdivo ketepse itelet interviews choto eng betutab mutai ko somok kasi kotomo ketoi ketepse biik chekosom boroinwek chebo commissioners eng IEBC.
Thank you very much. Yes, I am a reformer. And I must have mentioned that I also worked in human rights for a very long period of time. And human rights and reform are brothers, cousins. In the judiciary, one of the biggest reform program that I was engaged in is the Judicial Transformation Project. And I had mentioned to it previously, which was a US-funded, World Bank-funded project that transformed that judiciary to where it is. I pride myself for that, and nobody can take that away from me. When it comes to other reforms, I said that I was in the GIZ, the German Technical Cooperation. My work was basically reform. Reform-based in the sense that you follow up laws which have not been enacted and you ensure you enact. And we were supporting the Ministry of Justice at the time with a lot of reforms during the GJ laws and supporting the ethics and anti-corruption with combating corruption on laws on corruption. That is reform-based. When it comes to, if I happen to go to IEBC, what reforms will I do? One, have a desk, recruit a person, or if there's there's a legal department there, have a desk in the legal department. Have someone follow up on legislation, policies, and reforms that are pending, that have been enacted in Parliament or that are pending somewhere and so forth, and have them in place. For example, that we spoke about the issues of boundary. We don't have a law on boundary delimitation. But the law is somewhere in the Senate still being worked on. So can we talk to the senator who has proposed that law for boundary delimitation, Senator Kajwang? Can we tell him to speed it up and what requirements does he require? Because we are critical stakeholders in this electoral process. Number two, the law says we should have an IBC fund, a fund which can change the dynamics of elections in this country because it will allow basically voters to be properly educated because you can seek funds from other stakeholders. Can we have this in place as a reform mechanism? So these are some.
Ak yekitesetai ko kakimongei okiliek chebo Speaker nebo National Assembly Moses Wetangula akomwa kole ng'etu ko Kenya Kwanza netindoi MPs chechang eng bunge nebo National Assembly. Kondochin Milimo Kitinda komwa okiliek choto kole tomo koisto kapkirwok nebo High Court tiletab Wetangula nekitil kole tindoi MPs chechang anan majority Kenya Kwanza ama Azimio. Ako unoto kotesetai koboisie tilanata anan koboisie tilanata ole machei kobit terchinet amameche kobit terchinet age tugul amu mamitei ng'atutiet age tugul nebo kapkirwok nekoisto tiletab Wetangula kole chang MPs chebo Kenya Kwanza eng bunge.
There was a judgment that was given by the High Court on the 9th of February this year, and which judgment was based on a petition that had been lodged by some people claiming to be supporters and members of Jubilee Party, and by extension therefore Azimio, and who sought principally that the Speaker's ruling that had been made in October 2022 be nullified for the reason that in their view the Speaker mistakenly granted the position of majority leader to the Kenya Kwanza Alliance as opposed to Azimio. And of course, among the other issues that arose in those High Court proceedings was the periphery question of whether the Speaker of the National Assembly can hold his position as well as that position of other political parties, including that of the Kenya Kwanza Majority Alliance. Now, the matter came up for judgment on 9th of February this year, where the High Court agreed with the petitioners and nullified the Speaker's ruling that had slotted the Kenya Kwanza Alliance as the majority party in the National Assembly. And of course, among the other things that the court had talked about without making a finding was that in the High Court's view, it was not proper for the Speaker to hold the two positions. But the court went ahead and did that as a by the way. In other words, it's called obiter dictum, where there was no final decision made on that matter. Now, going forward, the National Assembly, which was the substantive party before the High Court, was aggrieved by the decision of the High Court and appealed to the Court of Appeal. Among other appellants who were aggrieved by the High Court decision, including political parties that had been adversely mentioned in the High Court judgment. At the Court of Appeal, other than filing the substantive record of appeal, the parties, including the National Assembly, also filed an application for stay, seeking principally to stay the High Court decision that had nullified the Speaker's decision on the majority leadership in the House. Now, before that application for stay could be heard, the Speaker of the National Assembly went ahead and made a subsequent, which I would want to call a second ruling, on the subject of the majority leadership in the House. And in the Speaker's view, the position remained the same, being that based on the prevailing circumstances that February, still the Kenya Kwanza Alliance remained with the majority members in the House. And that ruling of the Speaker stands to date. Nobody has gone to challenge that decision in court, and no court has pronounced itself nullifying or otherwise disagreeing with the position of the Speaker as to the current position or answer to the question of who is the majority in the National Assembly. The second issue that arose was whether the Court of Appeal ought to stay the High Court judgment based on its, by the way, notes on the decision of the Speaker to continue holding the position of the party leadership at the same time as the Speaker of the National Assembly. The Court of Appeal made a very interesting and correct decision that, in their view, the High Court, nowhere in its judgment, made a final order demanding that the Speaker either vacates office as the Speaker of the National Assembly or as the party leader of Ford Kenya or as a co-principal of the Kenya Kwanza coalition. And therefore, in the view of the Court of Appeal, there's absolutely no threat to the Speaker of the National Assembly because no decision have been taken by the High Court regarding his holding of the dual role as the Speaker of the National Assembly and a political party player in the Kenya Kwanza Alliance.
Chitab Kalenjin ako yuto kokakituch kayumetab logoiwekab emet eng saisiek chu kong'ete Kass TV. Kainenyu ko Sankaro Sirma, testai ikere Kass TV, kimnatet night.